same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power! Yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor and where the princess is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind. Caress the mind and question justifying where you and God in time are best aligned. Son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders. Even through charges and days of darkness, no, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folk try to ignore us. So we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanize so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. All you got to do is type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and I pop right on up. Fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but certainly not least, be sure to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way, you'll always have us right there at your fingertips. You won't ever miss an episode. And let me just also give a shout out to our KBLA team who has so diligently updated the KBLA app. There's lots of new fun features on there. I really enjoy the open mic feature. If you click on the open mic button, you can actually record a voice note and react to news of the day, offer your hot take or your response to maybe something one of our guests said that's been rattling around in your mind. Don't let it rattle in your mind. Go grab the app. Reach for the app. Share with us your thoughts. We want to hear from all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. Now, it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines. And at this hour, I want to shine a light on a story that I just got off air on News Nation talking about. ABC 7 News, KTLA News, is reporting that federal agents are clashing with protesters after immigration raid at farm near Camarillo. That's right. Federal agents conducted an immigration enforcement operation at an agricultural area in Ventura County today that led to a clash with demonstrators. The operation was taking place at a farm along Laguna Road near Camarillo. And at one point, there are reports that a group of protesters were seen facing off with agents, some of whom threw smoke canisters towards. We heard one demonstrator reportedly said, quotes, we were speaking our mind like we can as U.S. citizens. We got tear gas. I got hit with a paintball, one of them said. This is not okay. They went on to say that this is what we need to be doing as people, coming together against them, the tyranny. They are evil. We also heard them say that this is really sad to know that this is going on right now when supposedly it was supposed to change. This is insane, you know. It's important to point out that the situation escalated when more smoke canisters were launched, sending the crowd of protesters running in the opposite direction. The local fire department was seen near the site providing treatment for those affected by the smoke and the tear gas. And after the tear gas was deployed, several people were seen throwing what looked like rocks back at the agents. During this chaotic moment, there are pictures from the air of people gathered at the demonstration, allegedly firing a gun towards agents. That is alleged. This happened after the agents fired smoke canisters at the crowd. There were no reports of any injuries. At least one person was seen pinned on the ground by a... Somebody is going to get hurt. There's a reason why you have Senators Cory Booker and Senator Alex Padilla in the United States Senate pushing for a piece of legislation that would require federal law enforcement and ICE agents to identify themselves. Masked people approaching strangers at all hours of the day and the night, arresting them, taking them into custody. At what point does the work of these agents, really become at odds with people's rights to stand their ground, for example? Right? I think this is a really nasty situation that we are watching begin to happen in slow motion. And by the way, wasn't it President Trump who just 4 weeks ago said that perhaps ICE agents should not be focused on farm workers and hotel workers? Weren't these supposed to be industries that got a reprieve from such quote-unquote law enforcement? And so we're going to continue to keep our eye on this story as it develops. But to all of our leaders, learners, and listeners, particularly in Camarillo and in Ventura County, we saw fit to lead with this story today. Moving along, in other news, it is being reported as maybe a glimmer of hope for folks who are very concerned about the changing laws around, or the attempt to change the laws around birthright citizenship. The Associated Press is reporting that a New Hampshire judge has paused Trump's birthright citizenship order. A federal judge in New Hampshire said today that he will certify a class action lawsuit, including all children who will be affected by President Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship and issuing a preliminary injunction blocking it. Judge Joseph LaPlante announced his decision after an hour-long hearing and said a written order will follow. The order will include a 7-day stay to allow for an appeal. The class is slightly narrower than that sought by the plaintiffs, who originally included parents as plaintiffs. So we're going to continue to keep our eye on that story, as we know that there's a lot of concern around attempts to change the laws that have governed this country for generations when it comes to birthright citizenship. Now down to Texas, where NBC News is reporting after the Texas floods, questions about FEMA's future loom large. In an exclusive, NBC News is reporting that the devastating Texas flooding that's killed nearly 120 people is the first high-profile disaster the Federal Emergency Management Agency has faced during the current Trump administration. But while the loss of life has been catastrophic, former and current FEMA officials, they told the folks over at NBC that the relatively small geographic area affected means it's not a true test. It's not. It's not a true test of what the agency whose full-time staff has been shrunk by a third is capable of doing in the wake of a disaster. The real tryout could come later this summer when there is always the threat that a hurricane could hit several states. And as the agency's future is debated, President Trump has talked about possibly getting rid of it. In fact, Homeland Security Kristi Noem, who oversees it, has tightened her grip. Noem now requires that all agency spending over $100,000 be personally approved by her, according to current and former FEMA officials. To prevent delays on the ground, on Monday, FEMA officials created a task force to speed up the process of getting Noem's approval, according to a few folks familiar with the unit. And so how is that even just good management practice? Do you know how much money these government agencies spend? To say that any expenditure over $100,000 needs the personal approval of the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, when is she going to have time to do all that? That's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of administration. You know, wasn't this administration, wasn't their goal to cut red tape? That seems like a whole lot of red tape. When we come forward, I'm really looking forward to switching gears and sharing with you a conversation I had with John Edwards. John Edwards. He is a medium. Some might call him a psychic. And he is going on tour. He is going on tour, and you might want to check him out. He calls it the Evolve Tour. And he has an app in case you may not be interested in going on tour, but you may be interested in what he is sharing as he is an expert in connecting with the other side. You're going to hear his origin story and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
Rita, hot head, let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop, Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Hit me!
National News, The Consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and it's not every day you have an opportunity to talk to a world-renowned medium. I'm talking about John Edward, who is promoting his new book that's going to be coming out later this year. It's called Chasing Evil. It's available right now for pre-order on Amazon. He is currently, though, on tour for his readings in cities across the country. If you just go to johnedward.net/events, you can check out when he's going to be near your area. And there's even a handy dandy app that he's developed called the Evolve app to help people make contact with the other side. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, first things first, let's start with your origin story.
Okay.
When did you discover you were a medium?
Well, I think I can go back to like 4 or 5 years old and have some kind of like memories of some freaky, weird stuff that went on. But it wasn't until I was 15 when I went to debunk a woman doing readings at my grandmother's house that I wanted to prove to my family that she wasn't real and that she wouldn't be able to read for me and that I wasn't going to help her like they helped her. And she flipped me out, actually. She was kind of like spooky, scary. And she gave me information that was uncomfortable. And I tell people, if you've ever been robbed, you have a feeling of being violated. So when she did the reading for me, I didn't feel like, wow, that's cool. I felt violated. I felt like, oh, no, I don't like this. Like, I don't like the fact that she knew this. I don't like the fact that she was able to like walk around my life. Not only walk around my life, but she actually gave me information that was going to happen, which did not make sense. Like logically, for what I knew and the people she was describing, it did not make sense. And then that happened because I was missing one key piece of information that when it happened, I was like, okay. And that got my attention. And I went to the public library and I read every book the Glen Cove Public Library had. And in 1985, it was under the occult section. So I was embarrassed to check the books out because I didn't know what the word meant. So I sat on the floor every day after high school and read those books. And then I realized, like, no, this is not psychic. This is common sense. Like, everybody can do this. And then I realized, okay, maybe I'm not as normal as I thought I was. So my development happened pretty intensely once I put my focus on it. I was like, okay, like people can go to the gym and bodybuild. I went to the energetic gym and I bodybuilded that way.
Wow. And what's that like, going to the energetic gym? I know what it's like going to the regular gym.
Going to the energetic gym was like, I want to find out what kind of workout I want to do. Like, what do I want to work with astrology? No. Did I want to work with numerology? Maybe a little bit. So I started to learn a lot about everything. But the thing that I really resonated with, it was a tarot deck. And the reason why, and this is, if I did not actually have this experience, I don't know if I would believe it, but it happened. So I'm going to tell you. After I explored every book at the public library, I went to the local Walden Books shop that they had back in, the 80s. And there was nobody it was a small bookstore, and there was nobody in the shop but the manager. And again, the occult section all the way in the back. And the shelves kind of had this like bowed kind of vibe. And I was about 2 or 3 feet away from the shelf, and I was just looking at the books, and they had different types of tarot decks because the artwork is what's different on all the decks. And this one deck fell off the shelf in front of me. Like, it just fell off. And the woman that was like manager of the store was like, she was in the middle of the store and she was putting books on a bottom shelf. And she looked at me and she made it like, she goes, I guess you're supposed to buy those. So, because she watched it happen. So I did. I bought them. It was the Tarot Classic deck, which is really funny because I didn't like them. But that was my first deck. That was the first deck that I started working with. And I lived at my grandmother's house. My mom and dad had separated and we moved in there. And my grandmother had 11 kids, and those kids had kids. So every Sunday at my grandma's house was pretty packed. We had a lot of people there. And my cousin Florence came and she said, "Hey, what's this like? You're like psychic now, And I was like, I'm just dabbling and messing around with some stuff and trying to learn. I was embarrassed. And she goes, "Well, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, like I'm working with like cards." She's like, well, like you could like read them?" And I was like, "Kinda." So she's like, "All right, read me." So I did. And then like 2 weeks later, she said, are you going to be at grandma's on Sunday? And I went, yeah, I live here. So yes, I will be there. I said, why? She's like, I want you to do my cards again. And I was like, why? She goes, because everything you said happened. And I
Wow.
was like, oh, really? I was like, oh, okay. And then she said, can you read my friends? And that's how it started. It was that type of,
Mhm.
um, and that was looked like that was my energetic fitness program. I was working with cards. And then it got to a point where somebody that I met who was my mom's age, who became like my best friend in the psychic world, her
Mhm.
name was Shelly Peck, said to me, you don't need your cards. She goes, it's not the cards. She goes, it's you. The cards are just, and I'm like, no, no, no. I was like Dumbo with the feather. I was like, I need my cards.
Mhm.
Um, and that was my journey, how it began.
Wow, wow, wow. And so, I mean, one of my favorite movies is the movie Ghost
Same,
with Whoopi Goldberg. Oh my God,
same.
we share a same favorite movie. That's awesome. Um, Talk to me about in what ways your experience as a medium is similar or different from Oda Mae Brown, Whoopi Goldberg's character. Obviously, that movie was made a long time ago, but I think there are elements of that character that may still
Very
ring
much so.
true.
Yeah. One of the highlights for me was getting a chance to have a dinner and meet her and talk to her about the role, and specifically the scene where one of the energies jumped into, Orlando,
Yeah.
when Orlando jumped in. So when that moment happened, and I was like, what made you like know what that would feel like? Because I had early on had an experience that was somewhat like that,
Oh wow.
where someone, so what I do is called indirect voice mediumship, which is where somebody talks to me and I pass that information on. What Oda Mae Brown did in that experience was direct voice mediumship or a trance mediumship, where the person comes into you and they utilize your vehicle. So apparently I have that ability, and that happened once and only once and will never ever happen again, because I did not like that. I am
Mhm.
a control freak, and
Mhm.
this control freak did not like the way that felt. And
Mhm.
her reaction was kind of like my reaction. So I was like, how would you know that? Like, how
Mhm.
did you know to do that? And we had a whole conversation about, well, I could only imagine what it would feel like if someone kind of, and we had this whole thing. So that was kind of really cool for me, to get to talk to the real life person who played Oda Mae Brown slash, what was her other name in it when she went to go deposit the check?
Oh my goodness, you're getting me. You're getting me. You're getting me. 'Cause that was an iconic scene.
Rita Miller.
Rita Miller. That's right. Rita Miller. Oh my goodness. I love this. I love this movie history here. Talk to us about being in community with other mediums. Like, do y'all get together and like, go to the barbecue or
No. I kind of found that when I got involved with the subject matter, I started working at like psychic fairs. And I remember here I am like 15, 16
wait
years
a minute,
old.
John. Wait a minute, John. There's such thing as a psychic fair?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Who knew?
Oh yeah. So every Sunday there would be another, the psychic fair would be at a different hotel in a different, city or place. And I had the opportunity to be invited to do that, and be one of the people there. And the people were like 40 years old and older, late 30s and older. And then there's me, who was like 16. And I remember being like really, really excited. And I met a lot of people who taught me how I never wanted to be. I met a lot of people that showed me that although they had this ability, they were human,
Mm,
and their ego could get in the way of their ability or their process, just like any other field. And that created my lone wolf mentality. So for the majority of my career, I kind of kept myself
hmm
in the background. Now, my dad was also a New York City police officer and
hmm
kind of trained us for exit strategies, where, make sure your back is not to the door. We'd be in a restaurant, he'd be saying stuff like, okay, how do you get out? Like that was that kind of mentality was ingrained in me. So I always had this like, I'm just going to be in the last row. I'm always going to be over here. And I stayed away from people. Um, do I have colleagues? Yes, but it's not like we have a group get together or join the your medium dues are up.
So there's not a medium group chat that y'all have?
Not a medium. I mean, I'm very friendly with some of them,
Yeah,
but usually they're people that are coming from the same place.
yeah.
My goal is to leave people better than I find them with the information.
Mhm,
Like I am not a church. I'm not looking for people to
mhm,
be dependent on the subject matter. quite honestly, since I was a kid, I would always say to people, when my grandmother's alive, she'd get really angry with me. She'd get upset. People would say, when can I come back? And I'd say, you know what? You've seen me. Maybe like go see somebody else.
Yeah.
Or, wait like a couple of years before you come back. And then they would leave and she'd say, why are you telling people not to come see you? You're not going to have any business. And I'm like, well, one, I think there's plenty of dead people for me to talk to. And two, I don't want to foster dependency. I don't want people coming to me because they can't make decisions. I want them to be empowered. That's my job. My job is to empower someone, not to make them dependent.
John, are you religious at all?
So I was born and raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I was taken to mass every day until I hit first grade, through 3 different churches in Glen Cove. I have a pretty strong faith. Not a fan of organized religion, though. So I feel like the work that I do has really deepened my faith in the belief in God and the universality of that. And I think that language is how man communicates with each other, and religion is how man communicates with the divine. So I was raised Catholic. I raised my kids Catholic because that's the language that I spoke. But I feel like I'm now more Catholic light, and I have more of a foundation in faith. And I tell people, faith is free, religion you pay for.
I really appreciate that you said that, because I think there are a lot of our leaders, learners, and listeners that are tapping in that sometimes operate with this idea that if you are a psychic, if you're a medium, if you have that kind of ability, that somehow you are less religious, that maybe you are less tethered to faith as other people experience it. And what you've just shared is actually quite the opposite.
Yeah, that has been my journey. I think it's important to have a language that you speak.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Measles cases in the U.S. are at a 30-year high with nearly 1,300 cases in 38 states.
That all it takes is one person coming back with measles traveling internationally to start an outbreak.
Dr. Marissa Levine warns it could get worse as vaccination rates drop, especially in Black communities that are disproportionately affected due to lower vaccination access, even though the MMR vaccine is 97% effective. Sean Diddy Combs scored a legal win as he awaits sentencing on federal charges. A judge removed key allegations from a lawsuit by April Lampros, who accused Combs of raping her in the 1990s. And Los Angeles is on track for its lowest homicide total in 60 years. Black Mayor Karen Bass and Los Angeles Police Department Chief Jim McDonald made the announcement on Wednesday, crediting police response times and crime prevention efforts. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Terrible drive out of Calabasas at South 101. Delays from Las Virgenes, heavy and slow in stretches all the way into downtown Los Angeles. The southbound side of the 5 loading up out of Burbank from Alameda all the way to the 605. Northbound delays on the 5 in Sun Valley, backing up from Penrose. And you're on the brakes and stretches to the 14 freeway, making that 14 North connection. Delays heavy in stretches from the 5, looking better just before Soledad Canyon Road.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Even though the Dodgers have lost 6 in a row, they still have a 5-game lead over San Francisco in the NL West. That lead could shrink if the Dodgers don't break out of their slump. The Dodgers start a 3-game series Friday night in San Francisco. If you're a fan of Airbnbs and you have a 6-figure travel budget, I've got an offer for you. Michael Jordan's former mansion in Highland Park, Illinois, a Chicago suburb, is now available for an Airbnb reservation. Jordan sold the home in December for $9.5 million. Your finances have to be in order if you want to stay in Jordan's former home. A $25,000 security deposit is required when you make the reservation. You also have to stay a minimum 7 nights, which likely will push your tab over $100,000. The home has 7 bedrooms, 17 and a half bathrooms, a swimming pool, tennis court, and a basketball court. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay!
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Yo, it's So Williams, the VOR, and I know you're tired of pretty gyms with pretty lies, where people seem to scroll more than they sweat. Well, it's time to level up. Welcome to Huff and Puff, where excuses die and champions rise. Smack dab at 1221 North La Brea on the corner of Fairview. This ain't a photo shoot, it's a battleground. Certified achievers in the game. Trainers who grind with you, not post pictures beside you. Whether you're chasing your next personal record or just trying to outrun your past, this is your sanctuary of sweat. No mirrors, no filters, no fluff, just pain, passion, and purpose. Stop talking, start training, huff hard, puff loud, be legendary. Where folks go to war with their weaknesses. Huff and Puff.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, man. Hey, what's up, bro? What's that station you listening to? Oh, man, you don't know? That's Talk Radio. KBLA 1580 AM. Check it out. 1580 KBLA AM.
At KBLA KBLA Talk 1580. We're celebrating our 4th anniversary, and this track right here is the gift one of our devoted listeners presented to us.
Where you get some information, get a true education. Just to know, ooh, yeah. 1580.
How cool is that? Having a member of our KBLA delegation write us a song. Stop it! Our listeners love us and there ain't nothing we can do about it. Wouldn't want to. Thanks to Cardell and everybody else for turning on KBLA Talk 1580. We love you right black.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
So, talk to us about just sort of managing the day-to-day energies that you encounter. I would imagine that when you're in conversation with anyone, that there is a chance that you might be moved by somebody on the other side. Somebody on the other side might be tapping you on the shoulder. Is that how it works?
It could if I didn't have control of what I do. So one of the things that I want people to recognize is that when you do this work, you have to have a professional code of ethics. And that is you never enter someone's vibration without their consent. It's just not appropriate. So if you were a doctor and you saw that somebody had something, a lump, whatever, you would not walk up to that person in public and start palpating that lump without their consent. You would be arrested. So it's not okay to enter someone's vibration to do that because you don't know where they're at on their journey. So many years ago when I was doing a psychic fair in Manhattan, New York City, I normally don't eat when I'm doing this. But that day, I don't know, I was kind of ravenous. So I was like, you know what, I have a break. I'm going to run downstairs and I'm going to get a Sabret hot dog from the street vendor. So here I am, wide open. I'm waiting my turn to get a hot dog. And there's a woman getting ready to cross the street. And I felt her dad. So I looked at her and I was like, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I said, but are you Kathy? And she looked at me. I was like, you don't know me. I'm here doing a psychic fair at the hotel. I just got hungry. I was like, but I think your dad wants me to wish you a happy birthday. Is today your birthday? And she went, it is. I was like, well, just know that your dad's with you and he wants you to wish you a happy birthday. And then she's like, okay. And then I got my hot dog and I went back upstairs. I was booked for the entire day for 5.5 hours after that. So let's say that was 12. I'm done now at 6 p.m. I walk out of the room and who's standing there? Kathy. And I'm like, hey, do you work here? And she went, no. I went, why are you here? She goes, I don't know. Some strange person who does not know me walks up to me on the street, asks me my name. It is my name. Asks me if my birthday and tells me it's from my dead dad and then walks away from me. She's like, I tried to come up here to book an appointment with you, but you've been busy all day. So I took a chance and I just waited to see what else my dad has to say to me.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you, I couldn't read a book if you put it in front of me. I was exhausted. I mean, I had 6 hours of reading.
Yeah.
And I can't make someone come through. And I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm so sorry. I can't make it happen like it happened before. And I did my best to try to put a positive spin on it. And she just looked at me like, thank you. And I knew I ruined her birthday. So I knew that my positive intention was met with not a positive reaction. So that was an early experience. Never left me.
And hence why you have a code of ethics.
Correct.
And other mediums govern themselves with a code of ethics.
Or they should. They should.
Should we ask if we're ever visiting with a medium? Should we ask, hey, by the way, do you have a code of ethics? Can you show me your license?
It's that's the thing. There is no license. I think you can pretty much, you can tell. So I was given the greatest compliment for me at one of my events years ago. A woman raised her hand and I was like, you have a question? She goes, no, I have more of a statement, which by the way can go really south quickly when somebody says that. So you got to brace yourself. I was like, okay. she's like, you don't really sound like you're part of the psychic community. And I went, I don't. And she goes, no. She goes, you sound like more of a skeptic. And I burst out hysterical laughing. And I was like, I'm going to take that as a compliment. And the reason why is I was telling people that it's important to kind of make sure that you look at where is somebody coming from? You know, are they giving you just philosophy that you can read out of a book, or are they giving you factual piece of information that directly correlate to your family? Like I was trying to explain to people because there are a lot of similarities, meaning that if anybody that's watching this right now, or if you're listening to this, I can guarantee you that they have their own symbolism for their loved ones and friends who've passed, right? Whether it be that song on the radio, seeing 1111, finding feathers, seeing cardinals, birds, hawks, scents or smells, lights flickering, finding pennies, dimes, or quarters, like all of those things are real. But every medium knows that. We all know that. So for me to stand in front of 100 people in a room and go, somebody here connects with butterflies. Yes, somebody does absolutely connect with butterflies. So it's now what's beyond that. So those things I don't even want to talk about in a reading. I don't even want them to come in.
Wow. Well, so let's talk about, you're hitting the road. I mentioned that you have this this book that's coming out later this year called Chasing Evil. People can now pre-order that on Amazon. But I've never met a medium that had an app. I mean, talk about being a medium in the 21st century. Talk to us about this Evolve app, where we go to get it, and what we can expect when we download it.
So Evolve is the journey from my television experience. Like in 2008, I did my second show and I was like, okay, I'm done doing this. Like I've done this. I want to help people and I can't do this on TV. They're never going to let me talk about mindfulness on television in 2008. I'm not going to be able to talk about past life regression or numerology or astrology. So I wound up pioneering this subject matter online. And the culmination of that over the last however many years it's been is Evolve Plus TV. So if people go to evolveplusTV.com, you'll be able to see a landing page that explores what we have there. Or you can go to your app store. You can look for a cookie that looks like, it's a chocolate chip cookie with a bite out of it that looks like the Saturn planet. And it is a part social media community where people come together and can kind of like be void of the negativity of the world, or kind of navigating the chaos. But there are also verified creators. So the people that I refer to as my soul patrol, the people that when somebody says, do you have an astrologer? I have a few. Do you have a numerologist? I have a few. So I took all those people that are in my world professionally that I would refer to and said, hey, would you come teach here? So once a month they go live. So we have like anywhere from 15 to 20 live streams a month that people that are members can participate in. And it's very interactive. But then it's kind of like part intuitive development. I have my own channel there where some of my workshops and stuff are up there. So it's like one-stop shopping for all things energy-based. And we have a new channel that's launching called Move. That's going to get people moving. And we have a new channel that's just launched called Nourish, which we're talking about food and wellness and skincare, right? So it's not just mediumship. It's a lifestyle app that has a very heavy bent on coming from an energetic place.
Well, we want to remind people to download the Evolve app to tap into all that goodness, along with the Soul Patrol.
That's it.
That John calls them. Also, he's on tour. Go to johnedward.net/events. I know I was looking. You're sold out for your virtual events tonight and tomorrow.
I am. But I'm everywhere I go, johnedward.net. Everything's going to be up there. And usually the private readings that I do and the Zoom groups and stuff, that they get announced first to the people that are on the app. So they get like first kind of awareness that's happening.
All the more reason to download the app. Thank you, John Edward. Thank you so much for letting us into your world. Please come back again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, and system contact, and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. I do not consider myself a fan of Sean Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy Love, Brother Love Combs. But one doesn't have to be a fan to acknowledge a simple truth about his recent jury trial. I think the primary reason he was acquitted of those sex trafficking and RICO charges is because he was overcharged in the first place. Mine is not to opine on his guilt or innocence on any of the charges the feds brought against him. But I predicted months ago that he would beat the most serious charges because, as usual, prosecutors have a really bad habit of overcharging black men. Dave Chappelle said it best, Puffy is in a RICO case all by himself, man. Hilarious and arresting at the same time. When prosecutors put a target on the backs of black men, they throw everything at them just to see what sticks. And too often, just like in the Puffy case at the very end, they move to dismiss some of the charges and then double down on the ones they think they can win. It's racist and it's wrong, and somebody ought to say so. I think I just did. Not for the benefit of Puffy, but on behalf of all the other black men who have been and sadly will be woefully overcharged in the future. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback. On behalf of all the other
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union. We face tragedy. Our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. In the flesh. So, sometimes that Alexa just gets so fired up that she don't quit. So just a reminder that you can always listen to A More Perfect Union on Alexa, as well as the KBLA app and everywhere. But at this hour, there is some breaking news coming down. And I always like to remind folks that federal workers are not just in Washington, D.C. I know for some it may feel counterintuitive because this is our nation's capital, but federal workers are everywhere. In fact, the majority of federal workers don't even live or work in Washington, D.C., Maryland, or Virginia, otherwise known as the DMV. There are more federal workers living outside of D.C., Maryland, and Virginia than there are federal workers living inside D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. But this news is no comfort for federal workers here at home and around the globe. At this hour, the State Department is reporting, the New York Times is reporting that the State Department will soon begin their mass layoffs. The State Department formally notified employees today that was about to begin layoffs as a part of a consolidation plan that department officials say will reduce bureaucratic bloat, but that critics call a short-sighted blow to American diplomacy. In an internal message sent to the State Department workers today, Michael J. Regas, the Deputy Secretary of State for Management and Resources, said that the department would, quote, soon begin notifying U.S. employees who are losing their jobs. Diplomats said that senior department officials had told them to expect layoff notices as soon as Friday morning. The layoffs are a part of a reorganization plan unveiled in May by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who called the department bloated and stifled by bureaucracy. Secretary Rubio said that the changes would better align with core American values and root out pockets of, quote, radical political ideology. So it begs the question, is this about a bloated democracy, or is this about getting rid of folks that don't align with your political ideology, specifically a MAGA political ideology? Is that what this is about? That's what it looks like. The State Department is proceeding with cuts 2 days after the Supreme Court overturned a lower court order that had blocked the Trump administration from implementing mass layoffs across the federal government. So just how elections matter, so do the courts. The courts matter. And this administration had been waiting for the green light, essentially to supercharge their mass layoff efforts. And guess what? The Supreme Court gave it to them. The union that represents trained diplomats who rotate overseas called foreign service workers and expects about 700 of those based in the United States to lose their job. A larger number of civil service workers who work mostly in Washington are also expected to be fired in what is officially known as reduction in force actions. And in all, the department's U.S.-based workforce of about 18,000 people will shrink by 15%. 18,000 people. That means not just individuals, but we're talking about people's families. We're talking about all the small businesses that benefit from their economic activity. A lot of folks are going to be impacted. It'll be a huge domino effect. Department officials said that more than half of that proportion would be made up of voluntary departures, including workers who have accepted the Trump administration's deferred resignation offer. Secretary Rubio's plan does not include cuts to overseas staffing and operations, such as embassy closures, although a senior State Department official said that all the department's operations worldwide were subject to ongoing review. And so all this means that they're starting with the folks that are U.S.-based, but it's just a matter of time. I've spoken to sources that are a part of the diplomatic corps in other parts of the world. And the picture that they paint is awfully bleak. I mean, I just don't understand how any of this fundamentally makes us safer. I don't understand how any of this protects America's interest abroad. There are many tools in the toolbox when it comes to advancing America's national security interest, which includes humanitarian aid, which includes public health assistance, which includes military assistance, which includes investments in innovation, which includes intercultural exchange, people to people. There are so many components of what makes American diplomacy work. And this is the equivalence of taking a tool bag or a tool belt and just pulling tools out all willy-nilly, throwing them away. And, mark my words, when some stuff jumps off, we're going to be wondering, where are those experts? Wasn't somebody in charge of that? Oh, they don't work there no more. Oh, okay. I mean, we're already seeing examples of this right now with the catastrophe in Texas. People who work for the National Weather Service, people who work for FEMA that no longer work there. A lot of people asking the question, well, maybe if they had worked there, would this disaster look the same? Would we be looking at the same loss of life, including men, women, and children? That's just a few federal agencies. The Trump administration is now looking to supercharge their mass layoff effort. And you got to ask yourself, What happens when we pick up the phone and there's nobody on the other end? Who benefits then? How is that making America great? In fact, I would argue that it's making America unavailable. And to our allies around the world, it's making America unreliable. How can you be the world superpower and be missing in action? How can you be the world superpower and you're leaving your partners overseas, not just in a pinch, but you're leaving them holding the bag? Do you think that reputation is going to make for more good times as Americans travel the world? Is that going to make for Americans feeling or being safer as we travel around the world? There are far-reaching consequences of this that will outlive the Trump presidency. We ought to pay attention to that. And Congress ought to tap into its authority because Congress is missing in action. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward in our next hour, I'm really looking forward to being in conversation with David Secular. David Secular, he wrote a book called A Hate Crime in Brooklyn. You're going to want to hear all about it. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. 31 workers are safe after a tunnel collapse in Los Angeles. They were rescued by the Los Angeles Fire Department with no injuries reported.
Sure, I had an opportunity to speak with many of them, and of course they were relieved. Of course, the first thing they did was call their family members, but they were also light about it, like you would expect.
Black Mayor Karen Bass met with the workers afterward and confirmed they're all okay. Senegal has scrapped plans for Akon City, the $6 billion high-tech